Coming to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. What a weekend of sports. Even just this Sunday, specifically, we had Ravens Steelers in the morning, and then you had Allen Mahomes second, and then you had Burrow versus Herbert at the end of the night. All within that, you had the Grey Cup going on, and then you had a Canucks game later in the night. And Saturday, we obviously had John Jones establishing himself as the GOAT again. And then, Friday, we don't talk about what happened during the fight on Friday. But I want to talk about the main event of Sunday, which was Allen versus Mahomes, number 9, I think it comes down to, which is so interesting as to why this rivalry is even a thing, to be totally honest. It really made me think about why we care so much about Chiefs versus Bills, because the Chiefs and Bills are not historical rivals in any sense of the imagination. They play in the AFC West, the Chiefs do. The Bills are in the AFC East. Like, they're very diametrically opposed franchises. They don't really have any sort of connection. The Bills are a Northeast team, the Chiefs are in the Midwest. Like, it's really no link between the two squads, but obviously the quarterbacks are the story. It's all about Allen and Mahomes and their matchups against each other, which have been historically great in the playoffs. Obviously, the 13-second game is still to this day the best football game I've ever seen in my life. But what makes this interesting to me is every time these two quarterbacks play each other, it's billed and advertised as this heavyweight fight between these two champions who have gone back and forth with the belt their whole careers. And, this is their next chapter in their history meeting each other. But it hasn't gone that way in this rivalry whatsoever. If you look at their career resumes against each other, if you didn't know anything about football, you'd be like, why is this a rivalry? Mahomes has literally won everything. He's won 2 MVPs to Josh's 0, obviously 3 Super Bowls to none, 3 Super Bowl MVPs to none, 6 Pro Bowls to 3, 3 All-Pros to 1. They've played in almost an identical number of games. Mahomes has more passing touchdowns, yards. He's better completion percentage, yards per attempt, passer rating, less picks. He's literally better at everything in terms of playing quarterback. Josh obviously has all of the rushing numbers, but Mahomes has all the winning. He's all the stats. So why do we put Josh Allen on Patrick Mahomes' pedestal? Like, if you go back into these rivalries of the past, like Tiger Woods in his day, when him and Ernie Els were in competition for a major together, like, the story wasn't about really Tiger versus Ernie Els. It was Tiger going for his 6th major and how many more can he get to catch Jack Nicklaus and how many, completing the Tiger Slam. It was all about Tiger, 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 because he was just so clearly on a different level than everybody else. We could all see it. We could all see it. When it comes to Mahomes, like, one guy is everything. There's no doubt about that. But nonetheless, they're looked at as equals in the rivalry. It's Allen versus Mahomes, the two most talented quarterbacks of the generation. Allen versus Mahomes, it's always about those two. It's never about Mahomes going for his 3rd Super Bowl or Mahomes going for an undefeated season yesterday, for example. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about the Chiefs going 10-0. It was about Mahomes versus Allen. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that fans watch the game and analysts know the game. And sports, like life, is a lot about circumstances and how you deal with the circumstances thrown out at you and the hands that are dealt in life. I think we can all agree that when we watch Shark Tank, it's pretty impressive that everyone on that panel is a self-made millionaire, a self-made billionaire. Like, there is something to that rather than it being inherited. Like, how many times did Kamala Harris bring up in the election this year, Trump inherited his money, as if that diminishes his billionaire status. Like, there's something about self-made people. And, we look at Michael Jordan and how he turned around the Bulls and, their traveling drug circus that they talked about. And we look at that differently than Magic getting drafted first overall by the historically great Lakers, who already had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, we just look at it differently. It's, I think, a great thing, to be totally honest with you. There's something to overcoming circumstances. And when it comes to Josh Allen and the circumstances that he's had to overcome and the circumstances that Patrick Mahomes has had to overcome, I'm just going to list some facts, and these aren't opinions. For the first time, from the time Jim Kelly retired to drafting Josh Allen, that is from 1998 till 2018, the Bills had the 27th most wins in the league. I'm not counting the Ravens or the Browns or like any of the teams that didn't exist. The Texans, they were 27th in the league in wins. That is two behind the historically bad Cincinnati Bengals and the historically even worse Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bills were a punchline. The Patriots ran through that division. They beat the Bills up every single year. To put it quite simply, the Bills were today's Jacksonville Jaguars, today's Tennessee Titans, today's bottom of the barrel squad who just simply had seemingly no hope for decades. Very bad. But not a great owner. You're in the middle of Buffalo, New York. It's not exactly a free agent hotbed, I'll tell you that. So he comes into this franchise, historically losing franchise, by the way. They lost 4 straight Super Bowls. They are known for being bad and losing. And he comes into this new franchise under a new head coach who's ready to, turn the culture around from Rex Ryan, who was the head coach before him. Rex Ryan, obviously a big defensive guy, punch you in the mouth, play blitz, and all of that stuff. Very rugged. Who's this new coach who's going to come in and change the culture along with their new rookie quarterback, new rookie phenom out of Wyoming, most physically talented guy coming out of college, Sean McDermott, who is one of the most rugged, stoic, defensive-minded coaches who still has a head coaching job today. I can't think of anyone worse to pair with a raw, talented rookie quarterback coming in than a stoic, defensive-minded, run-the-ball head coach. I just can't think of one. And for the first 5 years, they had no run game. Their offensive lines were weak. It always seems like it's tough for defensive coaches to get the offensive line right. He led the team in rushing his rookie year. Devin Singletary led it for the last 5 years, Devin Singletary is not a top 30 running back during his time, probably. He was the offense. And is there, again, anything worse for a raw quarterback out of Wyoming coming into the league than your defensive head coach pretty much saying, here you go, here's the offense, go score us points? Rookie quarterbacks need structure. They need layups. They need easy completions to get their confidence going and start to get a rhythm. Josh didn't have that. He had to put the whole offense on his shoulders right away. Like I said, he led the team in rushing his rookie season, and people wondered why he was throwing so many picks early on in his career. Gee, I wonder, because he has the responsibility to turn around an entire franchise literally by himself. Until they got Stephon Diggs, I don't think I could name you 2 receivers on the roster. Gabe Davis was there for a while, but Gabe Davis isn't, an elite wide receiver. He's a decent player, but the situation Josh Allen came into was, to say it was less than ideal would probably be a crazy understatement. Crazy understatement. Defensive, rugged head coach, no offensive line, no run game. Here you go. Be the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. And the guy just flatly made it work. And then you have Mahomes, who I am not trying to diminish Mahomes at all. I think he's the best quarterback of all time in terms of one guy that I would want on my team for one game. And he's obviously got all of the talent in the world, all of the intangibles in the world. But he came into this league with the best pass catching tight end of all time already on the roster, maybe the best weapon of all time already on the roster. Maybe the best play caller of all time already on the roster. One of the most mature, smart, intellectual quarterbacks we've seen in a very long time starting so he could sit behind and learn from said quarterback. And the Chiefs had won the division for 3 straight years before Mahomes even touched the field. And when I think about that and the fact that, Mahomes has also had a defense these past couple years that's been the best in football, like, I can't help but think to myself, I know how great Patrick Mahomes is. I've seen it happen, and there's no quarterback that I, as a Lions fan, would fear more playing in a Super Bowl than that guy. There just isn't one, because I know he's gonna make a play. But I have to speak the facts. In the last calendar year, from now until last November, he's averaged 240 yards a game. He's 31 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. This is including the playoff run last year, where he won the freaking Super Bowl. These are including those. And his numbers are bad. Like, flatly, like, not good. He hasn't been playing good quarterback lately. And I understand that the Chiefs are still winning, and until last night, they were undefeated. It's not like the Chiefs have this destitute lack of weapons like the narrative has been. I understand that the Chiefs have probably subpar weapons compared to the other contenders. They're obviously nowhere close to the Lions' weapons, but like Travis Kelce is still there. They just got DeAndre Hopkins. Xavier Worthy's the fastest guy ever. Kareem Hunt's a good running back. Pacheco's going to be coming back. They have the best interior offensive line maybe in the league. Like, you got to be better than 240 yards a game, and you still have the best play caller in football. So you add all of that with the fact that their defense has been easily their best unit these past couple years, and I can't help but think to myself, like, I know this is just a year, a calendar year, and I don't want to overreact. But if Josh Allen was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, is he the Mahomes? Does the Mahomes GOAT narrative happen? Is it Josh Allen as the best quarterback we've seen on a trajectory to maybe be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen? Like, as I said before I started this rant, I've always considered Mahomes the best and most talented quarterback ever. But when we look at that last element, talent, does he have a bigger arm than Josh Allen? No. Does he run the ball better than Josh Allen? Absolutely not. Is he more accurate? Yeah, for sure. But again, that's just one element. Is he as much of his own offense as Josh Allen is? No. I feel like you could put it's pretty much what they did this year. Everyone said coming into this year that the Bills had a lack of weapons. That's why they traded for Amari Cooper. And they're still dominating on offense and still putting up 30 on the Chiefs. It's at the point now where I have to start asking the question, like, if the circumstances were shifted, would Allen be considered this generation's Mahomes? And if he beats Mahomes in the playoffs and wins a Super Bowl or two, I just want to throw this out there. Let's say Mahomes wins one more for the rest of his career. He's got 4. And Josh gets 2. And add a couple MVPs on top of that. Let's say Josh gets 2 rings, which for a guy of his talent and caliber is not out of the realm of possibility. And as much as I was dissing Sean McDermott at the start of this because I couldn't think of a worse fit for a rookie quarterback, he is a really great defensive coach. Let's say Allen gets 2, Mahomes gets 4, and you start looking at what each had to deal with during their careers. Is it going to be a real debate about who was the better player? I think we're starting to get there. But the thing is, Mahomes has such a seismic lead that he's going to have to continue to play this kind of subpar football for another year, year and a half until we even reach the point where this is a legit argument. And I don't think he's going to do that. But if he does, like, the door's open. Josh, this is the biggest year of his career in terms of the narrative surrounding him. If he beats Mahomes in the playoffs and, let's say, wins the Super Bowl, he has a legit claim that he's the best quarterback in the world. No doubt about it. Because, like I said, Mahomes was he's still throwing 31 touchdowns to 18 picks in his last year. And he's got the best play caller. He's got the best pass catching tight end. He's got Xavier, like, he's got stuff around him. And Josh, from the start of his career, it feels like the book has been stacked against him, and it just doesn't matter. So, in terms of pure talent, honestly, it's definitely a conversation between who's the most talented ever already. In terms of who's the best ever, that's still Mahomes' category until he loses it. But Allen is well on his way to at least making this a conversation. Because when you look at Allen's circumstances in his career, what he's dealt with, who he's dealing with now, you'd take Mahomes' situation a million times out of a million. Add on top of that, the Chiefs obviously have the best GM in football. They've been stable organization for the past 20 years. And by the way, during that span of 98 to 2018 that I was talking about for the Bills, where they had the 27th most wins, until they drafted Patrick Mahomes from 1998, the Chiefs had the 4th most wins. It's two different leagues. It's like someone going to the Steelers versus someone going to the Browns. And the fact that that quarterback from the Browns is still playing against the guy from the Steelers head to head and beating him statistically, like, that's so impressive. Again, we look at self-made differently. We just do. Except in the Mahomes Allen rivalry, apparently. But that's how I see it. Mahomes is still the guy. Allen's creeping closer. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you thought. Am I out to lunch? Is Mahomes obviously still a million times better than Allen? It's possible. I don't know. Please leave a comment below letting me know your thoughts. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed what you heard. The Spit Sports Show just hit over 360 subscribers. So if you could subscribe, that'd be just stupendous. Next video should be a Canucks video. We have a lot to talk about after that horrific loss to the Predators last night. And as always, I will see you in that episode, the next episode. Peace out.